When I first started DMing, I was really bad at combat. I read all the core books and hoped that they would guide me. But they kinda just gave me some math and said, good luck! Which, when I followed the math, easy felt like a sneeze would kill the monsters, medium felt like a small child could defeat them, and hard felt easy. But when I went above their recommended numbers, things often got a little too hard. But it turned out that this wasn't a numbers issue, but the fact that I had zero idea how to pick monsters for an encounter. Until my boyfriend got me a book from the local game shop called The 5th Edition's Game Master Survival Guide by Dave Hamrick, and everything clicked into place. Thank you to my Patreons for sponsoring this video. You see, this book taught me something that I can't believe I didn't see and understand beforehand. To treat D&D combat like designing a video game. In a video game, similar types of champions or monsters are often subdivided into their playstyle, and certain ones often synergize together better. For example, in League of Legends, you have 14 different classes, and they all work a little differently. Together, they make for a balanced or very unbalanced team. If we chose to play 5 Wardens, for example, we would have a lot of health, but would probably never be able to take down an enemy. And this is the exact mistake I was making when I was creating encounters. I wasn't picking classes that synergize together. To understand what classes go together, we first have to be able to identify the 10 classes that make up most D&D monsters. And to keep this easy, we'll subdivide it into 4 major groups: the utility, the distraction, the annoying, and the leaders. Some of these will be more obvious, and some of these are a little less obvious on what to do with them. The utility is made up of 3 classes, but their defining feature is that they will have more utility than the rest. Things like ranged buffs, conditions that they inflict upon others, or just outright being a mount. It happens more often than other groups. Notably, every utility monster likes having monsters from the distraction group on their team, something that will tank hits for them. Artillerists are the first of the utility group. They are super easy to spot in the monster stat block. You can easily find them by just looking for long-range attacks as the primary attack. They'll also have lower defense than other things from other groups, and they basically are the mages or archers of every monster type. But don't forget to still have them back behind cover after taking their attacks. Some examples of the artillerists are goblins with bows or night hags. Next up are the controllers. They do all sorts of status conditions to your players, or whoever they're attacking. Things like poison, incapacitated, charm, or making your players just prone. But their attacks are normally subpar. Their entire goal is just to distract. These guys often have to get closer than they may want though, so again, put some tanks in front of them. For some examples of controllers, fairy dragons and flumps are really common known monsters that happen to be them. For the final in the utility group, we have the support. These monsters will buff friendly allies on the field, give heals, speed boost, or utility to the ally, including being a rideable mount. Example of supports are unicorns and holly fans. The distraction, though, is your bread and butter of monsters. The beefy boys that protect the rest of your monsters as they pair well with almost everything. They're also the part where, if you play things well with tactics, and your combat is still too easy, this is probably the part that went wrong. It's really easy to end up with too many and not enough damage or sustain, or too few and all of your other monsters getting destroyed easily. First up, we have the tank. It honestly kind of explains itself. It is high defense but low damage output. The tank is particularly useful if your party is always completely blowing up groups with area of effect damage. They have a bit more defense stats than others in the group, so they should be able to hopefully take more than one hit from these AoE attacks. Some examples of these are stone golems and shield guardians. Brutes can often be misconstrued as tanks, but they tend to have slightly lower defenses and actually pack a punch. These guys are absolutely perfect if your party wants to ignore the distractors typically and race towards the backline. The heavy hits these guys can give out keep the party knowing that they need to protect their lower HP classes. It's also just the perfect monster to add in if you need something to do a little more damage from your tank side. Some examples are Cyclops or the animated armor. Last of the distraction is the classic, the minions. These guys are often generally low in every stat and feel great to just mass murk. Often minions are just something that's a lower CR. These guys work great to give people with area effects an ego boost, or if there is no one with AoEs, are just generally good at stopping the enemies from getting through. Just note that too many of these guys, though, can feel like a complete drag to get through. You don't want to make it feel like you're going through waves and waves and waves of minions. Where utility and distractions are often fairly easy to get on their purpose, the annoying are often misused, not being nearly as annoying as they should be. Much like everything else, the annoying does love to be paired though with distractions, but can sometimes get away without it. Lurkers are a class that make use of defensive attacks, and often feature a grapple. These guys love to hide in plain sight, often lying in wait just beyond sight to grapple just the right person and hold them vulnerable for other monsters, or to pull them away after grappling them, often dragging your players into the murky depths or up into the air. Some examples of these are the Oni and the Gelatinous Cube. The other type of annoying is the Skirmisher. These guys often feature long reach, high movement speed, and a way to avoid opportunity attacks. The things that often go wrong with these guys is that the DMs often forget to have them run away between attacks. They are designed to get in, attack, and then get out before being touched, weaving and bobbing between the danger zone and safety. Some examples are air elementals and gargoyles, and you'll find a lot of things that fly will fit into this category. And in my experience, my players love to hate these guys. They will focus them so hard at the fact that they cannot touch them. The final group of monsters is the leaders. They're good at just about everything, often with really well-rounded stat blocks. The only difference here is the two types in the category, which is based on their CR rather than their stats. Elites have CR that is low enough that they require other monsters to help them out, where the solo is high enough CR that they don't require any other monsters in the encounter, unless you want to add a couple minions. Just a heads up that there is a free mini-campaign I made over on my Patreon where your players play as gods. If you've been wanting something refreshing and different to play, it's available for free members, link in description. Some really common combos are putting artillerists with brutes. The brutes are threatening enough that the party won't just take a mad dash towards that squishier backline. Another great combo is controllers with skirmishers or lurkers. This pairing can really make the group feel under stress as they pull apart the group, making them feel much more separated than usual. Elites, because of their well-balanced stat block, can normally cause enough havoc on their own, but if you add a support in, it will buff them and make them just an absolute menace. Where solos often go well with minions. Sometimes the solo just gets lonely, you know? So give them a couple minions to add for a bit of chaos in your boss fight, instead of just like 5 dudes standing around beating up one monster. Monsters are great, and you probably know a bit about how to pair them now, but their environment matters too. While a wide open meadow is easy to use and set up a map, it's not the most tactical thing for your monsters to hide in or make for the most interesting fight. You need to set up the field to benefit the monsters for them to hit their full potential. That means giving cover to the utility, hiding places or terrain difficulties for the annoying. But you don't have to just think about your monsters. You can also think about what your players will find fun. Highlighting one of your players or a couple of them in each fight, rotating who you highlight for a campaign. Like intentionally setting up the perfect fireball grouping, or an NPC ally on the field that needs saving with a heal. Or maybe a close quarter fight where your beefy guys can really feel like they're protecting the squishier members of the party. And the final balancing trick I have that really stops your encounters from getting too hard as you're learning is to add multiple factions within the fight. If the fight is starting to look way too hard, having 2 factions starting to fight each other can fix this. And this is even good and interesting once you're good at balancing. It can add drama to the fight, or a story, or a secondary objective of befriending one of the groups that are in the fight. Instead of having one group of enemies and they're all cohesive, have multiple groups and have them kind of against each other, but mostly against players. And I hope this helped. This is one of the most common things I get asked how to do by DMs in my messages. So if you've stuck around to this point, what's your favorite monster? And don't forget to go get your free copy of the mini campaign available on my Patreon. And I hope you have a fantastic day.